Coffee in hand, Saturday morning, you are tuned in. I appreciate that. Appreciate everybody that tunes into our Saturday morning collector show. That's what we do, the collector radio show here. I don't know. I guess they call it a podcast. If I don't know, whatever they call it these days. But anyway, that's what we do here. Um, like I said, I always forget to tell people that, hey, if you clicked on this, you're trying to wonder what we're doing here on this channel. This is mainly what we do. Read your comments and all that, and chit chat about a lot of stuff, a lot of long winded things, a lot of random subjects that we just get on and don't really have any real direction. A lot of times we just start rolling. So if you're mostly interested in just straight firearms content, there's so many other uh, channels out there and everything. So go ahead and check that out. But this is all we do this show for all of you folks, and you know who you are. You're always here. You're every week. This is you mentioned many times as part of your weekly thing. Saturday morning would not be the same without the show, and I can't tell you enough how much I appreciate that and all that. So, and greatly appreciate you all, you folks that these guys that make this happen. So, all right. We're going to go ahead and read some comments and then go through some stuff here. All right. This one here is from Old Man of PNW. Okay. Try Secondhand Lions. While not scary, it's a wonderful movie. It is. Michael Caine and uh, Robert Duvall. I have seen it. I saw it actually when it first kind of came out. A buddy of mine, a really good friend of mine, he actually ended up moving back to the island. He was the one that I went to go see it with. He was the one that he would force me to say, "Hey, man, let's go watch something different, or do something different, or listen to something different than your usual stuff that you're always watching, horror movies, action, blow 'em up, Die Hard, Lethal Weapon kind of stuff." And yeah, and actually, yes, there's a few movies that he introduced me to because of that I really like. Secondhand Lions is one, and that's it's funny you mentioned that. And the other one is The Ugly Truth with Gerald Butler and I always forget her name, but she's stunningly beautiful. She is always Catherine Heigl, I think it is. She is just gorgeous. Um, and of course, along with that, I always thought that Charlize Theron in Mad Max Fury Road is just another stunningly uh, beautiful lady. She really is. And, I mean, any girl that can shave her head and look that damn good is awesome. Britney Spears. All right, Jeffrey Richardson. Absolutely enjoy your enthusiasm about your new wheel gun. I appreciate that. Yeah, that is definitely for me turned a new stone over. Like I said, I mentioned it last week that I've had the older vintage ones. I liked them. Don't get me wrong. I wasn't dissatisfied with them, but I truly enjoy the new one more than I ever did with the old ones. I wasn't like a full blown like Python, all that. Like it wasn't really my. I didn't think it was such a dual revolver. I didn't really think it was all that great, to be honest with you. I know I'm one of those. I mean, aesthetically, it's gorgeous. The action on them are just great. But I really wasn't that. I mean, to me it was. I was like, I'd rather have my Model 29, and that still could be the case today. I mean, that's a hard one to dismount. Even though I've I've kind of said, that new Python is really, put some ground there. But that Model 29, and I'd still think if it was they were both on the table, and they said you can only grab that one. I think I'd still take that 29. I don't know. All right, all right. Keith Stephen Mose. Wonderful show. Thank you for taking the time to produce and post it. You are very welcome. We do this for people like you. So we're very happy to do it. And we're very happy to have you. And thank you for commenting and being here on the show and being part of it. We are in a country where we have the ability to collect and enjoy so many historic and modern firearms. That is true. We have a sampling of historic and modern firearms here on the table to talk about this week's show. All right. My favorite era is the transitional period of black powder to cartridge. Some of the firearms from that time frame are amazing in design and function. Many are available today as reproductions. Most are very affordable. Yeah, same. I do like that. I like that. I love that old Wild West stuff. I still do. You know, that single action. There's something really cool about it. I've definitely been thinking I probably should. I always say I need to get another type of single action 4 3/4, whatever the barrel length is. I think that's the John Wayne barrel length in 45 Colt, because I actually only have the Rooster shooter right now in 45 Colt. It would be nice to have one that's all nice and blued up. And actually, I wanted to talk about this. I might even make a video about this. That I think it, to me, there is such a, I almost feel like it's underrated how good the bluing jobs are on those Pieta, Uberti, whatever, Italian single actions, even the black powder stuff. They're coming out of Italy. I've got a Uberti or whatever. It's a 3840 caliber, 4 3/4 barrel in, you know, the John Wayne style. And man, I tell you, the bluing on the barrel and the cylinder is just amazing. It's just amazing. It's better than some of the you know, Smiths I got. There's, you know, so I, you know, I always thought, you know, there would be a good video to do, talk about that, you know. All right, Gene Clark says, how many Deer Hollow grips do you have? I have been collecting Deer Hollow grips for, if you can imagine, it's a year now. It has been a year, I believe. I've been collecting them ever since I discovered them. I tell you, I am a fanatic about them because people like what Olaf is doing over there at Deer Hollow Grips Enterprises or whatever. That kind of stuff is not going to be around forever. Remember some things like that. What that guy is doing is something that is a lost art, and there is so little of that kind of talent and that kind of availability of a product like that. So I have bought many pairs, many sets, and collected them, you know, as just something I collected. Everything I've, you know, collected a lot of, you know, the ones, so I have the second and third generation and the service grips. And then I also included in that collection a set of Diamondback service grips for my little bullet gun, because I call it my bullet gun because it's a snubby Diamondback from the movie Bullet. But yeah, you know, and it really is, what it is a matter of, and people have always asked this, how do you get them? You got to sit there and be on the email watch list, and be on the email watch list, because then, you know, and I'm bad at checking my email. So a lot of times what I do is I just check the website constantly. It's kind of odd because when I first discovered them, they were available for a good long time. I just didn't pull the trigger just yet because I wasn't sure. I wasn't, you know, I was like, man, you know, they're up there in price, but once I got a set, I was like, man, these are totally worth it, because these are not, when you get them, you realize that these are no $100 set of grips. Not saying $100 is cheap, but you realize why they cost what they cost, because the quality and the detail in them is, you definitely have to understand what that takes. And he had told me up until I think recently too. I think he just changed the prices just a little bit because of cost and everything. But yeah, he hadn't changed the prices for like years, and he had been doing it for a long time. And keep in mind, there is a crazy run on his product because of the new pythons and stuff like that. So anyway, yeah, I stand by his products all the way. I bought enough pairs that where I wouldn't have bought as many as I did if they weren't good. I'm telling you, they're excellent stuff. So yeah, I have quite a few. Like I said, second and third generation. I like the third generation. This is my favorite, so I own a couple sets of those. So, and then definitely the service grips, because I'm still waiting for that little Python to come on the market, and might have to, I might see if I can, Christmas is coming. Christmas is coming, and I might have to add that to my collection for myself for Christmas. As you guys remember, last Christmas I added a Model 29 for myself. It has been a long spell. I have not bought anything firearms wise for a good long time. It might have even been that 29. I don't know. I've not bought anything. I have been free of buying anything, spending money of that stuff. So we'll see. We'll see how the Python market goes there. That's the other thing. I always fear, like, oh my gosh, are they going to quit making these polished blued ones, because they seem to be more interested in pumping out those matte finished ones, because there's really hardly any work involved in making them as far as the finish goes. All right. Love dogs. Any experiences with the original Smith & Wesson 59, please? The base model, not the later variations. I still carry one today, a classic. Not the original 59, no. I have not had experience with it. When I was living on the island, the local PD carried the 5906 until it was, I believe now they may have replaced it with something else. I don't know. I thought they did with the Glock. I thought they ran with those, but at least friends of mine that I knew, they carried Glocks. But I have not the original 59. I've messed with the 5906. A buddy of mine that was a police officer, I asked him, I said, hey, can I shoot that? I never really got to shoot one. So yeah, he said, yeah, throw it in a range bag. And we went up to our buddy's, coffee land property and shot it. It was cool. The 59 series always kind of, it's like a 1911, a Beretta, and a high power just like mixed up in a bag, kind of a thing. So you can see where it had taken influences from, different pistols there. So mostly a 1911 and a Beretta 92. So, but no, I have not had much experience with it. And it's not because I shunned it or anything. It's because I've said this many times. As today's topic is, my firearms interest is film related. I get into these movies, and if these movies are just like they done something for me, or I just got like the Dirty Harry gun or something like that, or the Steve McQueen snubby Diamondback, I get caught up in it, and I just that's end up being buying one because of that. So that's my firearms interest. Is really it's usually related to a film. All right. Slim Fire. Morning, JW, and thanks for reading my comment. You are very welcome, Slim. Always enjoy reading everybody's comments. Maybe not all of them, but also, I don't get to all of them. Sometimes people comment after the production of the show. Please remember, if most of the time we work on the show very early on during the week. Hence my Halloween shirt. You like my Nightmare on Elm Street shirt? I picked it up from a local shop that is doing Halloween all year round, so I had to support them. Hence the new poster in the background. Well, you can only see part of it, but I didn't want to put it low. It would look really stupid. But it's up there. It's They Live by Roddy Piper, or John Carpenter film. So I bought these two items from them, there. I wanted to support that local, and anybody that is trying to put on a Halloween type Spirit Halloween shop, only more custom-made things all year round. I am definitely all supportive of that. Got to support the one-man guy, the one-man gang doing that. So, all right, nice Beretta and very nice Colt, too, that we can see you enjoyed very much. Yes, I do, and thanks for the video, Slim. Yes, I do. Those two firearms, hence last week, I bought them twice. That's the second time I've bought a Python. That's the second time I bought a Beretta 92. Because there were items that I sold off years ago, and I always kind of felt like, man, more so the Beretta 92. The Python was kind of like, I can live without that. But I really always thought that I should have hung on to that Beretta. So I ended up with the second one there. That's the second one I've owned. And but the Python, as you know, basically what they with Colt reintroducing them, and it basically when I saw that polished blue one come back out, I said, okay. I already had fondled and dabbled around with the stainless one, but I had to have that blued 6-inch, and I don't regret buying it. That is a sweet baby right there. Okay, Squib 1911. It's good to hear from you, Squib. It's good to hear you're back here on the channel and commenting and everything. Also, Squib has a great channel there. I love his stovetop stuff that he does, and another one of those great channels. Very much like so many that I like, Real Cobra Burnout, TAB videos, just to name a couple right there. You never know what they're going to be doing. You never know what they're going to be filming, and I love channels like that. They're such hidden gems, especially like Real Cobra Burnout doing his Bud K unbagging videos that he did some time back are priceless. They're gold, man. I tell you, those are just great. What a great personality that the dude has. Awesome. So anyway, the best thing about being on YouTube is all the friends I have made over the 8 years. Yes, and been on it. Yeah, absolutely. That is, like I said, I mean, what my channel, I'm glad we kind of fell into this niche where we're at. I'm so happy that we ended up doing this program, what we got going on here, and having people like yourself there, Squid, on there. It's so cool because I think that's the most awesome part about it. It's just the people we have amassed, friends, family, brothers in arms and all that stuff that we're here, and we're joined together, and we get to we're friends that we've never really, a lot of us never met face to face, but we are here right here through that screen. I like seeing the 92 FS on your channel. I have an M9. The only reason I wanted it is because it was my sidearm when I was in the military. I went to the armory to check out the sidearm for the very first time. They gave me a new M9. I was eyeing the old worn out 1911s with slides all locked back on the shelves in the back. I asked if I could carry one of those instead. The armorer said those were for PMO, Provost Marshal's Office. Oh, okay. I'm probably pronouncing that wrong, Squib. What they call the military police on our base. I have a Taurus PT92. The magazines aren't interchangeable. Good to know. I love when we share information like that. That is good to know. The Taurus PT92 magazines are not interchangeable with the Beretta. Okay, that's good to know. That is, I mean, that was the other thing too that I really, that was the other side of the coin that I really liked about the Beretta 92. And I did have an M9 variant when I first bought it. And I've told everybody the reason I bought it, the M9 variant originally, was because it was cheaper than the 92. I always get that. People ask me, what's the best stuff? What's the best oil? What's the best cleaning kit? What's free? All right. This one here is from Mike. Hello, Bat Jack people. I've been enjoying the show and all of the comments. I have been watching a John Wayne movie called Stagecoach Run. Not to be confused with the 1939 classic Stagecoach. That I did not know. That is interesting, Mike. I have noticed in an earlier Stagecoach Run that John Wayne was carrying his revolver in his iconic back of right hip position. I guess you can tell. I guess you could call. I guess you could call that a low 4 o'clock position. But it's neat to see how Wayne, the actor, kept certain nuances and carried them from one Western character to another. Like how he carried a revolver. Best wishes from Montana. That is from Mike. Yeah. That's the thing about the Duke. I always like, man, he kept his style. If you notice, there was I noticed that I've never heard of Stagecoach Run. That's really interesting. I have to look that up. But if you notice that he started using that yellow-handled 45 or whatever, 3840, it depends on who you talk to. Oh, that single action. He started using that in the mid-'60s. It's hard to know because I can't remember which movie was actually produced first, but to my knowledge, the first one it popped out with was the was either the War Wagon or Sons of Katie Elder. But you could also argue this. I've seen, if I'm not mistaken, I've seen some of his really early black and white ones where he had well, obviously, it's black and white, but they were like white handled, grips. I could have sworn I've seen that in very early ones. So hard to know. But, he did, once he started carrying, you could tell, like, once he started getting into those films, which are my favorites, by the way, all the ones basically where he's carrying the yellow grips, those are my favorites. I always, that's kind of ones I stick with because it's just my favorite. The only ones that are exceptions would be Comancheros. That was kind of it's just action filled, but really good one. But yeah, War Wagon, Sons of Katie Elder, Real Lobo, Real Bravo. Those are really good. Real Bravo is one of the ones that he doesn't really use the pistol in there, but I like El Dorado better. So, okay. Anyway, but interesting stuff. Barry Hughes, have you watched Electra Glide in Blue? Nice Colt Python. I have not. I've heard of that title, but I have not watched that, assuming it's a movie. No, but I have not. But you know what? Speaking of those old hidden gems, I guess, or I'm assuming it's an older movie. I'm not sure. But another really cool movie is Friends of Eddie Coyle. That's another good one. All right, DB. To all the girls I've loved before, some 2 or 3 times. Love the Freddy sweater. That's awesome. Thank you, DB. I appreciate it. Appreciate you commenting and always being here every week. Joe P. Swig of coffee for Joe. We got a different coffee mug. Probably everybody noticed. It's just because that's what happened. That's what the coffee ended up in this morning. All right. Good morning, Mr. Kruger. Yes. I have been asked that before because I'm, everybody knows I'm a huge horror movie fanatic. Love horror flicks. Mostly I hang out in the, the old school 80s stuff because that was my, that was my growing up. That was all those stuff that was, totally badass during my childhood. Freddy is my favorite slasher. Freddy is definitely my favorite. Second best would be Kane Hodder. Kane Hodder is Jason because nobody does Jason like Kane Hodder. I would love to meet Mr. Hodder. That is like one of my bucket list things. I want to meet Kane Hodder because I want to shake his hand. I read his book. The guy has an amazing, tremendous story beyond just being the horror icon that he is. The guy is just crazy. The story of his life, his book, and he also did a short series called The Killer and I with author Mike, and they did a bunch of little snippets of like just them screwing around and going across, basically state to state, even in Germany and all that. He did that. Really awesome to watch it. It's such a really cool series that he did. The guy also spent a lot of time in Hawaii. So, I always wondered why he had some Hawaiian shirts on, the local shirts, not like the Hawaiian printed shirts, but like actual like local shirts that I would see growing up and living on the island. So I always kind of wondered that. When I read his book, that's when I found that out. But yeah, Kane would be definitely somebody I'd love to meet because he's such just a genuine person. So, all right. Love the fact you still touch base with Cody. Yeah, I actually just was talking to Cody. I told him too. He has a shotgun I sold him that I really would love to have back. I bothered him to say, I said, you better get on an airplane with that shotgun and come out here and see me and sell that shotgun to me because he hasn't sold anything. He doesn't sell his guns. He's a guy that has a ton of guns that doesn't shoot. Oh wait, is that me too? No, I don't know about the ton of guns part anymore, but I don't shoot much anymore. Those hangouts are great videos, and coupled my 2 favorite vices, bourbon and cigars. Yeah, that I don't smoke and I don't drink hardly. I have haven't taken a drink in I don't remember when. I actually don't. I don't know what it is. I maybe it's I have not a I don't I have maybe a slight allergic reaction to alcohol. I think I've noticed. Um, so even though it's not like really, but I did notice it. That's another reason I just quit doing it. I just I mean I could do it, but I don't. We taken a shot for Mr. Holster when he passed. Because that was his big thing. My buddy that moved over to Seattle, or not Seattle, Minnesota, he collects bourbon whiskeys and stuff like that. He collects a lot of that. Really crazy, some of the bottles that he's got and what they cost. So, Bohemian Hunting Club, Beretta, yes, yippee-ki-yay. Another cool group of guys out there that the humor that they have is it's awesome. I don't know if you guys saw their latest, or I was watching one of their latest videos. The thumbnail picture that they use for the video is just hilarious. One of the animals got a hammer. All right, Warren. Hey, my buddy Warren over there. You guys are awesome over there in Australia. You guys are so cool. Hey, Bat Jack, thank you for answering my question. I can understand your reasons. Getting back to shotguns, I always liked the Mossberg 500. Yeah, I mean that thing is bulletproof, man. I mean if you're gonna have just a dual shotgun, my late friend Ernie Montalban, great friend of mine, he passed away sadly. Ernie taught me a lot about a lot of things, more than beyond guns. Taught me a lot of life stuff, and but yeah, that was his choice, was Mossberg 500, no doubt. Appreciate your kind words. Paul Hogan started his working life as a laborer for Sydney Council. Wow, I didn't know that. He then went to television and did his own sketch show before a film career. I have a copy of Firepower magazine that my dad left me at Beretta 92 in a 1911 side by side. And I thought the 1911 was cooler. I never really got into the Beretta, even though it was used in a lot of 90s films and TV shows. But it has grown on me in recent years. However, a friend of mine who runs a firearms school in Thailand is not a fan, and thinks the Taurus clone is even worse. I agree with the friendship matters and time factors. Maybe it's just the older we get, the grumpier we get. I have a great week and take care. Yeah, that is good. That is a very good sentiment too. Maybe the older we get, the grumpier we get. Like I said, I grew up in a sense. I feel like I'm an old man in a younger body, even with my mentality, because throughout my whole life, I always hung around with the older people. Like my friend now too that I hang out with, really mostly. Just a no BS kind of person, just really, you're not, I'm not saying we have not, our conversations or our hangouts are just like, that's it. We have a sense of humor, obviously, but there's lines, there's lines in that sand, so you just, I don't know. Maybe some people just don't get it. So anyway, for me, I got really good close friends, and that's it. I don't, that's all I care about anyway. Like my friend Zoe and I were talking about, it's like, hey, you know what? If they ain't made no efforts to call me, then what should why should I care? All right. Not talking about you, Cody, because I always call you. You don't call me. I'm just messing with you. All right. Lion Quest Fitness. We got here, Lion Quest Fitness does some really great revolver videos, awesome shooting videos, really cool stuff over there. Great channel, great guy. Greg, you're awesome. I got an email from Bob Hartman the other day. Hey, Bob Hartman. I've always said this. I've never forgot Bob. Bob, I never forget. No, I'll never forget him, ever. Sent me my first bottle of Ballistol, because I couldn't get it on the island. Nobody would get it. Nobody would send it to me, nothing. Bob did. Bob went in and sent it to me. He sent me the regular bottle, not the aerosol, just straight liquid stuff. It's not flammable. In fact, it's about as non-toxic as a oil as you can get. So, you know, I'll never forget that. Thank you. And Bob sent that to me. And he also bought a couple sets of my grips, if not more. So, you know, Bob Hartman's a good guy. Always will remember him. I told him you've been wondering how he was, and he said he tried to drop by this weekend. Oh, appreciate that. Bob is the kind of guy who doesn't say much, but when he does, I listen. He sent me a link to a video by World War II historian Mark Felton on William Fairbairn and how he developed his system of combat to train the British commandos. Cool. I've heard of Mark Felton's stuff. A lot of that, you know, the history and everything, that really cool stuff. So, all right. Well, awesome. I appreciate that Lion Quest Fitness comment there, and I appreciate you, you know, Bob Hartman. Yeah. Always. All right, Jim. Hey, JW, how is I Carry One doing? I Carry One is good. He is doing good. He is very much retired. All right. Sean Lee, morning, y'all. Enjoy the show this morning. Like always, are those custom grips on the Beretta? The emblem pops. No, they're not custom grips on the Beretta. I was wondering who it is. Some people do comment on that. Okay. The grips on my Beretta, the Y is one of the emblems highlighted like that. If you watch Lethal Weapon, watch the first sequence with Martin Riggs' character portrayed there by Mel Gibson. Watch it carefully when he's sitting in the couch doing a very unpleasant, you know, he's experiencing some, obviously, a bad moment. Look at the gun. Look at his Beretta. The emblem is like, got some coloring on it. I don't know why. I've never seen that before, only in that movie. So guess what? I went to the Hobby Lobby and picked up some model paint and did mine like that. So there you have it. Mickey Mantle. All right. Morning, posse. Caps on for safety. Caps on so I can see. Love it. Beretta 92 FS versus the Taurus PT 92 AF. Old age discussion. Great tools to shoot, but they're too heavy to lug around the range. Absolutely. The Beretta 92 is a heavy firearm. It is. You are not concealing that thing. If you do, it must be during the winter where you know, in just nothing but like minus, you know, degrees constantly with a big honeycoat. Shooting several hundred rounds, holding that thing up in a position hurts my stomach after a couple hours. Definitely cool factor. Too old and not enough crunches, I guess. Checkmate, I'm thinking, also makes boats. Blessings Crew. That's cool. I didn't know that. Yeah, I always wonder who that company is. You know, like Checkmate. You know, because they do. They made those military magazines. I talked about that. We went to the surplus store and bought a whole bunch of them from them. Keith, no, thank you, and appreciate that, Keith. Definitely, I appreciate everybody that always supports us here. In your being here and still being here, listening to this show is great. Mr. Smith, why do you not like the 3-inch Python? I think they made maybe the best looking Python with the service panel stocks from Alt. Now the 2.5 looks odd, too short to me. It's not that I don't like the 3-inch. I actually have a 3-inch Smith that we brought out for you. This is a 3-inch. It's a 629. This one I still own it because it's one of the most gorgeous 44 Magnums I can think of that I actually own. And it's not nickel plated. This is a Lou Horton special. This is a highly polished stainless steel Lou Horton with the combat, I guess I always call them banana grips. But this one's really nice. It's a 3-inch. It's dirty. It has not been cleaned since the last time we shot it. which has been a long time. So I guess I should clean it before I put it back in the safe. Um, but yeah, this is a 3-inch. It's not. It's because I have a. It's because I'm just so like I have like that snubby revolver like syndrome. Because of all those old cool detective movies from back in the day. Even the the Steve McQueen Bullet Diamondback, it's a 2.5 or whatever. I don't know. It's just and then I always think of the Out for Justice movie because William Forsythe's character plays a wretched character in that movie. He carries the little snub python and everything like that. So I don't know. I have that that crazy. I love that snub python or snub revolver syndrome. So, but the 3-inch, yeah, I mean, actually, far as like a good, you how would you say it, working gun, a working revolver, a 3-inch revolver is actually probably the best size wise. If the 4 is, the 4 is a good service, but that 3 is that sweet zone. I think I really do that 3-inch, 3-inch model 27, iconic. Absolutely just a cool revolver. Never had one, never got the opportunity to buy one. They're stupid expensive. Smith should remake it, even though I think they definitely make the 27 still, but I wish they would remake that. No, I mean, if I had the finances, I certainly would buy I would buy both. I'd buy the 2.5 and the 3. I did have a 3-inch stainless one. I did. I had it for a while. That was my first stainless new Python I bought. I had it for a while. I liked it. And then they came out with the 2.5, and then because I didn't have enough money, I traded in my 3 and bought the 2.5. So yeah, but I do like the 3. The 3 polished blued would be nice. Like again, if I had the finances, I would love to do that and buy that. Because it is cool. Obviously the older one was the original like 3-inch one for whatever they called it, the Combat Magnum. Stupid money, right? They were costing stupid money back then. But no, I do. I like it. I'd rather have that 2.5, just because it's the snub version. It would go really nice paired with my stainless one. So anyway, all right. Speaking of films and all that, I brought out the only Gold Cup I still have left, and the only reason I've kept it was because of the movie Cobra with Sylvester Stallone. This is a Colt Series 70 Mark IV Gold Cup in 9mm. Hence the grips. I bought these grips and I did some work to them to make them a little bit better because when I first got them, the emblem on them, it literally is just a sticker. This is straight up just for show. The emblems were just stickers that they put on them. I looked at that, or I don't know, whatever I wouldn't say it's just, it's probably a really good high quality, like whatever, what do they call that? Like what they do on a shirt or something. But I was worried that was going to come off with either solvents or something like that. But they were the ones that looked the closest to the movie. They came from Thailand or whatever. So I went ahead and actually I sealed my grips with countertop lamination material to seal them up, to make them more durable so that this wouldn't get affected. I put a couple coatings on it. But yeah, this is basically the Cobra gun. Basically, that's what I call it. Although in the movie, his was like a 9mm conversion one. So I don't know how many different ones they had for the film. There's a couple scenes where you can see it's a large lettered, where it says the Colt MK4 on it, and then 9mm conversion. There's some scenes where you can see it says 9mm conversion on one side. So I don't know how many different ones they had. Mine is, just a straight up. Now this is a newer production one, because I don't think they really made these back then. So this is the newer production one. Paid a pretty penny for it. I don't like to think about what I paid for this, because when I bought it, they were not available. They were like scarce, really scarce. So yeah, I got this. I changed out the grips. I left it, pretty much stock other than that. I shot it quite a bit when I first got it, but I'm going to tell you right now, the thing that disappoints me the most about this thing, and you guys know I love Colt. The slide the frame on this thing was just, it loosened up so bad, it was just stupid. And if it wasn't for the damn movie, I'd sell this thing. I really would, because this is just, to me, this is crap. I cannot believe, and I actually adjusted this myself. It was worse than this. It's still pretty bad, but it was worse than this, if you can believe that. I actually put the slide in a giant Wilton vise, a machinist vise, and I squeezed down the slide just a little bit, just to kind of slightly tighten it up. But yeah, the slide the frame fit on this thing, you can probably hear it in the video, it's terrible. It's terrible. Colt, what the hell are you thinking? So other than the movie aspect of it, that's it. That's the reason I keep it. That's the reason it's going to stay in the collection with me. It's for the movie. I still like it because of the film and everything like that. But aside from that, if the movie has nothing to do with it, I would say at least my experience with this particular one. Now, I have a Colt, the government Model 45, that doesn't nearly rattle as much as this. And that's a 45 ACP. And I shot 4 times more rounds through it than I did out of this. And that thing doesn't rattle like this. So I don't know what Colt was doing here. I don't know what they did here. But absolutely, 100% would not recommend this pistol from Colt at all. I don't know what they did or what they didn't do here, or at least on mine. At least on mine. So that's all I can say about that. Just being honest with you. All right. Last thing we're going to talk about briefly, because if you saw my other video, what's going to happen. As we know, actually, I found out through TAB videos, Glock has changed some stuff. I'm just going to lay this out. I'm going to keep mine because of that, because, now I just because of the fact that, they're discontinuing this lineup. And so the two I got are one's a Gen 2, this is a Gen 1. So obviously those are going to be a little bit more on that side. If you wanted to a little bit more in depth on those, go ahead and check out my videos. So what's going to happen now, or something, or what's to happen? Do I think, I just want to touch on this real quick. Do I think they're going to become collectible? I don't think so. I think there's too many of them that were made. I mean, there's just a ton of them. It's not like you're going to have a hard time finding one. I think at first there would be kind of a little bit of a mad craze to buying them up, but the market's so saturated with it. I mean, really, how much could you possibly buy to deplete the market? Not a whole lot. I think it's, so, and to be honest with you, it's just like, the Glock pistol is dead nuts reliable. It is my choice for defense. Great range pistol. Like I said, just unbelievable reliability there. The thing is damn near bulletproof. It doesn't have the soul as some of the older guns do. Yeah, it doesn't. It's a gun built for purpose. It's a gun built for combat, all that kind of stuff. So it's not going to have that. So, in that aspect, you know what? I got the two that I got. I'm happy with those. I'm going to leave it at that. There was one that I used to have that I kind of wish I still had, which is the Model 41. But, oh well. It never really bothered me because there's so many of them out there. I don't think there's a reason to go on a frenzy trying to buy one. So, anyway, thanks for hanging out. It's been a long one. Enjoy your weekend. Everybody, again, if you were still here, thank you.